Good afternoon. Welcome to everybody here in Brussels and in Naples, where I can already see Colonel Roland Lavoie, the military spokesman for Operation Unified Protector. Welcome to everybody in Naples, and welcome to those who are following us on the internet. This morning, the North Atlantic Council met with our operational partners to review events in Libya since their last meeting 2 weeks ago. The situation is moving fast and is moving into the right direction. The political and military structures of the Gaddafi regime have crumbled, while the National Transitional Council has asserted control in key cities, including Tripoli. We're encouraged by statements made by the head of the NTC,